real.
Earlier it was like talked about like how, you know, sleeping or letting your husband or wife sleep with someone else is like irresponsible, or it's not a marriage anymore. Like, I'd be kind of curious of what you believe a responsible marriage is like. Or I understand that you have a religious view on marriage, but when I think about a marriage, I think like I could see somebody saying they're married if it's like completely romantic, like you're not allowed to do romance with anyone else. Like, basically, what does a responsible marriage mean to you?
Marriage is not just a contract. Like, it wasn't just like the government came up with a contract for people to get married. You know, the history of marriage, you can't separate that from the church. The problem is people are trying to make things cool and trying to update and make them modern. And now people are saying you can have a polygamous marriage and you can bring in other people on the outside of a marriage. What's the point of getting married? Literally, I'd like to ask the question, if you think that you can, if you want to marry somebody and then outsource the sex, you know, outsource the responsibility, outsource what the labor of love is actually supposed to be about, why not just stay single?
So you wouldn't do a threesome with your husband?
Absolutely not, because he's my husband.
Did
you even have to ask that to get the
well,
answer?
I mean, there's
Absolutely
married
not.
couples that want to have threesomes, and
you know
some
what
of
happens?
these ladies are bi-curious.
You should jump into those Reddit threads, because every single time that marriage ends in divorce. There's so many Reddit threads about...
No, they don't.
And a lot of them actually
I have regulars
do really
of
well,
over 5
too.
years.
Okay.
And
There's
they're
some that
not
do really
divorcing.
Do you believe atheists can get married?
I think atheists get married because they want a tax break. I don't see the point in an atheist getting married. Why don't you just live with your partner, okay? Whoever it is that you're dating, you're at the stage you said, I don't know if you live with your boyfriend or whatever it is. Why take the next leap? If you're wearing crosses for fun and, you know, it
I mean,
seems
if
like
you're actually
good.
asking
Yeah.
the question,
Yeah.
I mean, because then I would just be pledging the fact that I would want to be with them forever.
But you can just be with them forever. So what is it
Right,
that you
but-
crave that when you want to get married? What's that next step for you? What does it mean? What's the difference between dating and marriage?
Because it's a commitment.
Is dating not a commitment?
It's a commitment, but it's saying a
But
next
you're
step. It's solidifying it.
Okay, solidifying what? Because if
Solidifying
you're,
a bond between two people that love each other.
Okay, but what is solidified? If you can then jump into that next commitment, which is the exact same as dating, and you can sleep with other people and you can put topless photos on the internet, what are you getting married for? Pictures on Instagrams to say you did it?
I mean, I'm not sleeping with other people.
What's the
but
difference for you between dating and marriage?
I just told you, it's a bond between two people. You're solidifying that by law. You're literally making it known. I want to be with this person forever. It isn't just a simple breakup. Oh, I can go and do whatever the fuck I want and leave. It's a partnership. It's a bond. It's forever.
But there's no difference between dating and marriage
there is a
other than the
difference.
idea in your head that it's a bond, because you're saying also
But it's not an
that
idea in my head. It's on paper.
Oh, okay, it's the paper. That was the
But
point
it's
I was
not a
making.
but I'm
just
saying
piece
it's
of
not a
paper.
tax break. It's a legal thing.
And I think
I'm
for people that are
connecting to
committed-
somebody for the rest of my life.
Yeah, well, I think for people that think about marriage and don't think about a cross as something funsy to wear, it's not a piece of paper. You know, it is a union between a man and a woman, a sacred union that should be protected from external forces. Definitely not something that you open up. How I would feel disgusting if my husband ever came to me and said, I want you to sleep with another man or sleep with another woman so that I can fill my sexual fetish. I mean, it's an utter perversion of what it means to be married, and it will lead to divorces. People that have this perspective will, and I'm not saying that if you don't do it, you won't get divorced 100%, but I do want to say that there is probably a reason that a lot of sex workers struggle to find people that want to marry them.
Well, can I say a lot of the
disagree.
perversion that comes if you are not going to be acceptant with your partner, if he comes to you and is like, hey, I really like getting pegged. I want you to peg me. And you're like, ew, that's so disgusting. Like, I would never do that. You want me to eat your ass? I would never do that. Well, then, okay, what are you going to do? Divorce him? Or what are you going to do? Realistically, I'm asking you I'm asking, hold on. I want to know. What are you going to do? That's your husband. He's like, hey, babe.
I think one of the things about marriage that's really beautiful is I know what my husband, before we got married, I think I know who he is.
But things change, and maybe he wants to start exploring.
He wants to start doing what?
So he wants
ram.
to start exploring, and he's like, oh my gosh, maybe I do want you to like eat my ass, and I kind of want you to me. Like I kind of want anal penetration from you because you're my wife and you're so beautiful and hot, and we're married and we have kids together, and I'm feeling a little bit kinky, and I with you, since we have this special marriage and bond. How would you feel if we could just try this out just this one time, babe, please?
I think it would probably indicate to me that my husband was involved in some perverse world, whether it was through that something else was happening on the side, because these aren't normal things that people just think of when they wake up.
So
like,
what's your
hey,
next
I'd
move?
really like a strap-on dildo.
Okay, right.
Well,
so what's your next move?
What's the ultimatum? He's going to divorce me if I don't peg
so
him?
So what's your next
happening
move?
Crazy. I would think that individual would probably need therapy and not the kind that you give.
Okay, and but you're gonna stay with
You
this person?
don't immediately divorce.
Okay.
Marriage is
You're gonna
about
stay.
working through issues and working through problems.
Okay,
You don't immediately
right.
divorce them. And this gets back to what she was saying about if your
Because-
husband, if suddenly a woman doesn't want to have sex, which would be another huge issue in a relationship, I would hope that my husband wouldn't instantly divorce me, but I would hope that they would
Some
take
guys
the
are terrified of that, and some guys don't even feel like they can open up to their wives about that. About that
Sounds
stuff.
like they need therapy.
They
then.
need
If they
therapy.
can't open up to
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta work on your
But
marriage.
the thing is that they'll come to us talking to us about that. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
And I think
don't
that
know. I
that's
think it's-
unhealthy. And I think that, the fact that sex workers exist as this, what you believe to be a solution, when in fact that's a detriment, because you're getting in the way of the wife and the husband being able to communicate. And so I would much rather my husband go, if there was an issue and your wife's not having sex, I'd rather him go talk to a priest. I'd rather him go talk to another male. When males sit down and talk about, hey man, you should talk to her about
Okay, but
this.
let's be
I'd
for
rather
real.
him.
What
No,
man nowadays
let me
is
finish
gonna
my
do that?
statement. I'd rather him. What do you mean, bros talking to each other about things? That's a normal. I'd
Especially
rather
about
if I have an
sex, I
issue
feel
in
like
my,
that's pretty
it's pretty
normal.
normal. I'd rather go talk to my sisters about things that are going on
No,
in my
I said,
marriage.
what
There's a
man?
lot of steps you can take before you talk to a prostitute about your marriage. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I live in such a crazy.
well, I'm
place,
saying what
but
man is
I
willing
don't know.
to do
I'd
that?
turn on
Because
turn on a
apparently
Taylor
we
Swift
get a lot
song,
of those on
cry
this
a little
side,
bit in
is
my
what I'm saying.
room. I don't know. There's a lot. I would turn to
Wild
Taylor Swift
proposition.
before I would go to a prostitute about
Well,
my marriage.
I
and
know, but you're not a male, so
no,
I'm just saying, like,
men can talk to
where-
other. What are you talking about? There's all of these podcasts of men talking to men and being inspirational and talking about porn addiction and talking about the things that are corrupting men's minds. That's out there.
Okay,
and
and
those
I
are
know
those
that.
are. I would much rather my husband listen to those men,
Right.
and look for guidance, whether it's in the church,
I
whether
hear
it's on a
you.
podcast, whether it's a spiritual leader, than to turn to a prostitute in a brothel.
I hear you.
So there's a lot of steps that you can take from we're having an issue in our marriage to my husband's at a brothel laying next to a prostitute talking about issues in
don't
my
think
marriage.
I
A lot
think
of
actually,
men
let me
are
just step in really quick. I do think though, I would like to redirect the conversation, because I do think it's probably a very small portion of people who are married are seeking to bring in a prostitute for the husband. It just seems like such a small kind of, I don't know. What's up, really quick?
Statistically, married men are actually the highest number of clientele for prostitutes.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying, please listen for me. I'm literally telling you guys, males come to us and say all this stuff, which is like, they're first scared of you guys because how you might react. Two, they feel like they can't be honest and open with you guys. That's why they result in coming to places
Yeah,
like
just
that.
so you guys know, that statistic doesn't mean that the majority of married men go to prostitutes. So
I
you
didn't say that.
No, I know. I'm just letting her know, because she said, like, yes, like it was if it was a debunk.
No,
and I think what
no,
he's
no,
saying
no,
is that the
no.
majority
Oh,
of married
nice,
men don't
yeah.
turn
I'm just saying, like,
to prostitutes.
a
So
lot-
there
we
might be a
get a lot
small
of married men is
contingent,
what I'm
and they
saying,
might be majority
right?
married.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
I think
get
that's a
everything.
good
But-
reason to have, I guess, to on the point of like something was brought up earlier about like what is like a responsible marriage to you. So part of being a good partner as like a wife or a girlfriend to whoever you're with is making them feel comfortable telling you anything, especially if it's something that they think is serious enough to consider leaving like their relationship with you for. Like if it's serious enough that they would consider divorcing you if they can't explore the sexual fantasy or anything like that. I think that's just a part of being good on the I agree with what you're saying here, that they that these men don't feel comfortable that they could tell their wives, and I guess that's just a part of being, not that it's justifiable that you as a wife you should give in to any sexual fetish your partner brings to you. It's whatever you're comfortable with and wherever your boundaries are, but I guess that's a part of that continuous conversation with them, so that they always feel comfortable bringing up anything to you as a
Right.
friend, as like a
Right.
confidant, and knowing they're not going to be judged,
Right.
but that they'll be a partner with you in
I
figuring out what to do
I
about it.
do have to move on. So we have a couple chats here.